All right, guys, so we're going to work on page 150. That's from intermediate level, English file book. English file book, intermediate level, and that's a grammar bank. We're going to deal with 10A exercises now. It's about relative clauses, defining and non-defining. Well, I have explained this enough in the sessions, like what is defining clause, what is non-defining clause. So I'm not going to go in deep in it, but like just like a very brief explanation. So defining carries important information. Non-defining, it doesn't carry, important information. So when you got non-defining, you must have commas surrounded by it. But if it comes at the end of a sentence, then you're just going to put one comma before it. But if it's in the middle, clause, yeah, right, relative clause, if it's in the middle, then you're going to surround it by two commas. Okay, that's going to be non-defining. Why we call it non-defining? Again, as I said, it doesn't carry essential information. Removing it, it doesn't change the main meaning. But on the other hand, defining relative clause is going to carry a kind of, important information, and removing it is going to affect the main idea or main point of the whole sentence. Okay, so you can't use comma with it. Anyway, so let's jump on the exercise here. Exercise A, complete with who, which, where, and whose. So we've got like who, which, where, and whose. Let's get started. Minneapolis is the city where Prince was born. So where we use when we talk about place. So city is a place. So where Prince was born is a relative clause giving some information about city, and that's it. Number one, Rob and Karina have twins. So have is a verb, guys. Yeah. So we've got here two commas. So that's non-defining relative clause. We've got two commas, and have twins. Have is verb, so it should have a subject here. And also because the relative clause is talking about Rob and Karina, which are people. So we're going to use a who, guys. You might ask, can we use that here? No. Why? Because after comma, we can't use that. That's it. Okay, don't forget that rule. After comma, no that, right? Now we're moving to number two, Downing Street. And as you can see, there are two commas here. That's also non-defining relative clause. And Downing Street is as a place, right? So if it's a place, I say where. That's it. Where British Prime Minister lives is in central London. Number three, the sandwich you made me for lunch was delicious. So this is defining relative clause because we can't see any comma here, and also the sandwich, right? Sandwich. So if I'm going to remove the relative clause here, like you made me for lunch, then big information, like big part of information goes, because you don't know which sandwich you're talking about, right? So here, the sandwich which you made. Sandwich is object or thing, so we can't use who for that, and we're going to use which. Can I use that? Yes, of course we can do that. Number four, the woman lived here before us was a writer. Okay, so woman, we talk about woman, so it's a human, so we're gonna make who. We're gonna write who here. The woman who lived here before us was a writer. That's it. Number five, David Bowie songs inspired us for nearly 50 years. So that's like it's coming between two commas, so that's a non-defining relative clause, right? And look, songs inspired us. Inspire is verb. Songs inspired. Song is the noun, and which is a subject. So we got a subject here. And now here we're talking about the songs of David Bowie, right? So like his songs, right? When we talk about his songs and we're doing relative clause out of it, that's going to be whose songs, right? So we're going to write whose. When you watch the videos of explanation of the grammar itself, we use whose instead of possessive adjectives like my, your, his, their, our. They are possessive adjectives. So we're going to use whose in place of them, okay? Another way of going about it is, after whose, you must have noun, right? You can't use whose without noun after it. And there's a technical way of approaching it. And we've got songs here. Songs is noun, so we can use whose songs. Another important skill of understanding relative clause are to be able to separate the sentence into smaller sentences, into small simple sentences. Like here, number five, David Bowie died in 2016. That's a separate one. And I can say his songs inspired us for nearly 50 years. Now, when you want to join them, you're going to remove his and replace it with whose songs. Then that becomes complex sentence. Right. Now, number six, my computer is a lot faster than the one, so I'm talking about computer, than the one which I used to have, It's about computer. Computer is object, so we use which for that. 7, the Mona Lisa has been damaged several times. So Mona Lisa is a painting, right? Has been damaged several times. So we're talking about object painting. So it's going to be like, which has been damaged several times. We can't use who because we're not talking about person, right? Mona Lisa is the name of a person, but we are talking about as painting object. That's why it's like which has been. Well, can I use that in place of which? No. Why? Because we've got comma here, guys. After comma, as I said earlier, we can't use that. Okay. Number 8. Look, that's the woman. Dog bit me last week. Dog bit me last week. So I'm talking about the woman and then dog. So that would be her dog. So if I'm going to connect her dog as a relative clause, then I need to use connector of whose. Okay, so that's the woman whose dog bit me last week. Okay, number 9. On our last holiday, we visited Stratford-upon-Avon. It's a town where Shakespeare was born. So because it's a place, I'm going to use where here, where Shakespeare was born. You might ask, where can it be subject? No. Where cannot be subject. So when you use where in relative clause, after that, make sure that you must have subject, right? You know, example here, Shakespeare is subject. Shakespeare was born. Was born is verb. Shakespeare is subject. Where is just a connector of a relative clause. And obviously we're using where because of place, Stratford-upon-Avon. All right. Number 10, we all went to the match except Angela. Okay, except Angela. So the relative clause is talking about Angela, which is a girl or human. So we're going to write who. Because doesn't like is verb. There's a comma and there's a verb. So if there's a comma and there's a verb, then you must have subject here. Otherwise, you're going to incur something called fragment. Fragment is a sentence with a mistake, right? So here subject is important. So we're going to write who here. Can I use that? No, we can't because there is comma, guys. That's it. Right. 11. That man you saw at the party was my boyfriend. So that man you saw. So it's going to be who here. We're talking about the man, right? That man you saw at the party was my boyfriend. And 12, that is the park I learned to ride a bike. So I learned to ride a bike in that park, in that place. So as we're talking about place, we're going to use where here, guys. Where? That's it. That's it, guys. Right? Now we've done it. So number 1, Rob and Karina, who have twins, often need a babysitter. That's good. Downing Street, where the British Prime Minister lives, is in central London. Number 3, the sandwich which you made me for lunch was delicious. That's good. 4, the woman who lived here before us was a writer. David Bowie, whose songs inspired us for nearly 50 years, died in 2016. That's also good. Number 6, my computer is a lot faster than the one which I used to have. That's correct. 7, the Mona Lisa, which has been damaged several times, is now displayed behind glass. You see what I'm doing, guys, here? Like, I'm just repeating it, revising it myself aloud. If you want to apply the grammar, when you do, just don't do the grammar, guys. You know, you can just like, I put which in who and whose. You can't improve it like that. Yes, understanding the grammar is one thing, but you have to apply. Applying it in your own language is another thing. So how am I going to do that? You can only do it by revising or saying or reading aloud. That's what I'm doing it. I'm just showing it to you, and you have to. This is what you have to do as well. Because a lot of students say that, oh yeah, grammar, you know, it's not helpful. It is helpful, but you have to spend more effort on it, right? So 7, the Mona Lisa, which has been damaged several times, is now displayed behind glass. Fluency, you gotta read it again and again to increase the fluency. Like if you read number 8, for example, if you read like, look, that's the woman whose dog bit me last week. That's not a fluency. So if you are reading like that, then you're not fluent enough. So you have to repeat. You have to revise, right? So look, that's the woman whose dog bit me last week. Number 9, on our last holiday, we visited Stratford-upon-Avon, where Shakespeare was born. 10, we all went to the match except Angela, who doesn't like football. 11, that man who you saw at the party was my boyfriend. And 12, that's the park where I learned to ride a bike. So we're all good, guys. Exercise A is done. B. Well, B is asking us to look at the sentence in A. Okay, we've done it already. And tick the ones where you could use that instead of who and which. Circle the relative pronouns which could be left out. All right, we'll do that. So here, number 1, can I use that here? No, I can't. Why? Because there is comma, guys. When there is comma, we cannot use that. Okay, so number 2 is where, so we can't use that in here. So the sandwich which you made me, yes, here we can use it, guys. So I can write, yeah, that is possible. That is possible here, guys. because there's no comma. The sandwich that you made me, it works. Number 4, the woman who lived here. That is also, we can use that. I mean, I can write it here, that. There you go. Why? We're talking about, we can replace who and which as long as there is no comma before who and which, guys, right? That lived here before us was a writer. That's good. You might be asking, like, well, which one is better, teacher? Number 4, obviously, who is better? When we talk about people, who is better than that? We use that in speaking situations. Like when you speak, you can use that. It's actually better in speaking, casual speaking. But when it comes to academic writing, it's better to stick to who when you talk about people. 5, David Bowie, whose songs? Obviously, we can't use that in whose. So where, when, whose, you can't replace them with that, guys. So you can only replace who and which. And the condition is there must not be comma before which and that, right? Okay. My computer is a lot faster than the one which I used to or that I used to. That also works here. There you go, guys. That's it. 7, Mona Lisa, which has been. So there's a comma here. I can't use that. Look, that's the woman whose dog. I can't use that there. Number 9, where? No. Number 10, who? I can't use it because there's comma. Cannot replace with that. 11, that man who you saw, that you saw. Yes, it works, right? That's it. And that's the part where. So where is, can't be replaced by that. Okay, guys. So again, so number 3, that's good. And number 4, that's good. Number 6, yep. And then we got here 11. So 4 of them we can replace with that. Now, the next question is circle the relative pronouns which could be left out. We can drop it. So the first rule is if there are commas, you cannot drop them. For example, in number 1, who, I cannot drop it. The second rule is who is subject. So when which and who and that they are subject, you can't drop them, guys. You cannot. We can reduce it by reducing the rules. We're going to study in level 5. We will discuss later on. Okay. So we can't drop it if there's comma and if they are subjects. Where we can never drop that. The sandwich which that you made here. Yes, number 3, I'm going to circle here for you because we can drop which and that. Why? Well, which and that here, they are not subjects, right? And there are no commas here. So you can say, the sandwich you made me for lunch was delicious. Perfectly works. Perfectly works. And the woman, number 4, we can't because here leave it is verb. Who and that is subject. So you cannot drop subject. You're going to have problem. So 4 is no good. Number 5, obviously, whose, you can't drop it. Number 6, my computer is a lot faster than the 1. Look, I used to. So we got subject and we got verb here. So that means we can drop or we can left out which and that. Okay, guys? And so I'm going to circle it for you like that. Even better. There you go. All right. And we can do that one as well. So we can drop them. We can leave them out. All right. Number 7, which has been, we can't because there is comma here. Number 8, whose, you cannot drop that. Where, you cannot drop that. 10, who doesn't like, there's comma, so you can't drop it. 11, yes, we can drop it because you is subject, so is verb. So who and that, they're just a connector. So we can circle them down here, just like that. There you go. That's it. Right. 12 is where, so you can't drop it. And that's it, guys. So B is done. A is done. And then we're going to do C now. C is asking us to add comma, yes, where necessary. Where necessary. So that when we add comma for non-defining relative clauses, right? Non-defining relative clause. Non-defining relative clause, it means relative clause that carries just non-essential, not important information. In other words, I can remove it. Like removing the relative clause is not going to change the main point or main idea. Okay, so in these cases, we're going to use comma. Usually, we're going to apply, technically speaking, we're going to apply commas after proper nouns, like, names of cities, countries, and people and stuff. Right. So here, Caroline, as you can see here, Caroline, and then there's comma here, because Caroline is a proper name. So number 1, this is the place where John crashed his car. So look, if I'm going to remove where John crashed his car, a lot of information is going to go. There will be a huge difference between this is the place and this is the place where John crashed his car. That means where John crashed his car is bringing a lot of information, right? So this is where John crashed his car. This is relative clause, and that's bringing a lot of information. So this is defining relative clause. That means we can't apply comma. Number two, the castle that we visited yesterday was amazing. So again, this is relative clause, and also because there is that here, I can't apply comma before it. That's a rule, right? We just discussed earlier. Three, Beijing. Okay, Beijing is the name of a city, so I can apply comma here, which is one of the world's biggest cities, and there's a comma here, has a population of 25 million. Because, which is one of the world's biggest cities, relative clause. You remove it or not remove it, the main point is not going to change. Beijing has a population of over 25 million. Beijing has a population of 25 million. So here, which is one of the world's biggest cities. This is extra information. Extra information, non-essential. So this is non-defining. So we're going to use comma there. So 4, Adil's 25, which was released in 2015, is one of the best-selling albums of the last 10 years. So here, Adil is the singer, and Adil has got albums, and she calls it by like numbers, like 16, 19, or whatever. So this is clear. It's the name of an album, Adil 25. So because it's a clear name, we have to apply comma here on both sides of the relative clause, which was released in 2015. That is extra information, guys. Okay. Number 5, these are the shoes which I am. So these are the shoes which I'm wearing to the wedding tomorrow. So this relative clause is important, which I'm wearing to the wedding tomorrow, because when you remove it, a lot of meaning changes here. There will be misclarity here. For example, there's a huge difference between these are the shoes. Okay, this is the first sentence. These are the shoes which I'm wearing to the wedding tomorrow. As you can see here, which I'm wearing to the wedding tomorrow is bringing a lot of clarity, a lot of information. So you can't apply comma here. So number 6, Sally and Joey, who got married last year, are expecting their first baby. Sally and Joey, they are proper noun, their names. So that means we need to apply comma here, who got married last year, and comma there. Who got married last year? It is relative clause, non-defining, because you remove it. Removing this relative clause is not going to change the main idea. And where's the main idea here? The main idea is Sally and Joey are expecting their first baby. So you remove the relative clause or not, the main idea is going to stay as it is. That's why who got married last year has to be surrounded by 2 commas, because they are non-defining relative clauses, guys. And that's it. In this way, we have finished page 150. So we have finished the exercise for 10A. If you got any questions, please leave some comments on the sections, and I'm going to try to answer them. Now, if you don't understand relative clauses, then I advise you to watch this part and in one of the videos that I've explained relative clauses. That's going to help you to understand this exercise part. But that's it. I'm going to stop here now. In the next videos, we're going to move to upper intermediate explanations. Right? Okay, so thanks for your time and have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.